I'm going to start introducing our panelists now. We're going to start off with David Lewis, who is a secretary for the Mental Health Board. And he also is involved with the Mental Health Association of San Francisco and the National Alliance of the Mentally Ill. And recently the Mental Health Board went through a process, taking a position on a lot of these issues, and so I'm going to turn it over to him, and let's give him a round of applause.
Hi, I prefer to stand when I speak. First of all, I wanted to give you a little background on the issue of tasers and CIT. CIT stands for Crisis Intervention Training, which is something actually originally designed by the Mental Health Board for about 10 years before Chief George Gascon at the time stopped it because he didn't believe in it. It was slowly after Gascon left and new chiefs came, and I think Godown followed him. Crisis intervention training was restored, but not with any money from the police department. It's been entirely volunteer. I'm one of the CIT trainers. There's a bunch of us. It's a 40-hour, 5-day program. And a few hundred officers have been trained in it. Here's the thing with crisis intervention training. It's a work in progress, and the police commission should know this, because the dispatchers still don't know in their computerized dispatching system who is trained and who isn't. So if they get a call, the police get a call for somebody who's experiencing a mental health crisis or that needs a CIT officer. If that dispatcher happens to be lucky enough to know, remember, a particular officer who's trained, they can send them out. But the system doesn't let them know that. And if this dispatcher is new or doesn't know, they have no way of assigning the officer. So while great in theory, crisis intervention training is more of a future promise than a kind of a current reality. Having said that, there's still a couple hundred officers who've been trained. And what the police department proposes, or namely our chief, is that we arm these officers with tasers. Now, my board, the city's mental health board, has taken a stand against it. And why is that? It's not because necessarily our board is against tasers in their entirety. In fact, most of the board members, I would say, they range from conservative to progressive to not so progressive. But they are against tasers for police, and this is why. Tasers, in a sense, represent a threat to the consumer, represent a threat to the person suffering a mental health crisis. And the entire point of crisis intervention training is to de-escalate, to use verbal techniques to de-escalate, whether it's talking somebody off a ledge, whether it's talking somebody out of their weapon, whether it's talking somebody into treatment. It's to use a verbal de-escalation. And the presence of additional weapons sort of undermines the whole process, especially tasers, which are not just a device for controlling someone, but they're also really a pain and administration device. A taser can be used to inflict pain to force compliance, and that's why the very sight of a taser can be threatening to someone under crisis. It's a bad idea for de-escalation. You de-escalate with words, not with threats. So again, from a mental health perspective, it's the worst possible thing. And with that, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Laura Guzman.